Thanksgiving dinner was already tense, but then my sister stood up and said, "We had a vote, and you're not part of the family anymore." The whole room clapped. I gave a small laugh and said, "Well then, I guess you won't be needing this." I reached into my bag, pulled out a folder, and set it on the table. She flipped it open, and started screaming. But let's rewind a bit. Right before the turkey was carved, Brianna stood up from her seat with that smug little smirk she always wore when she thought she was being clever. "Before we dig in," she said, "there's something we need to say." The room fell silent. People froze with their forks halfway to their mouths. My stomach dropped. I recognized that tone of hers, same one she used when I got grounded at 14 for a party I wasn't even at. "We took a vote," she said, like she was about to accept a trophy on stage. She looked around like she was soaking in applause. "And we've decided, you're not family anymore." Dead silence. Then the applause started. Cousin Chloe clapped like she'd just seen her favorite band live. Uncle Ronald raised his glass and said, "To that." Even my mom, my own mother, chuckled and said, "Well, somebody had to say it." I just sat there. Still. Staring at my plate. The stuffing was cold by now, but I felt my blood simmering. My dad didn't even look at me. Just took a long sip of his beer and muttered, "Probably for the best." I slowly pushed my chair back and said, "Wow. You guys actually rehearsed this whole thing?" Brianna grinned even wider. "You've been toxic for years," she said. "We're done pretending," my mom added, scooping up some cranberry sauce like we were just talking about the weather. "It's unanimous." I looked around. Not a single person said a word. No one stood up for me. I nodded. "All right," I said, low. "Fair enough." I reached into my bag again. "I had a feeling something like this might happen," I said as I gently placed a thick folder in the center of the table. It hit the wood with a sharp thunk that cut right through the noise. Brianna blinked. "What's that?" I leaned back, arms crossed, and smiled. "Why don't you take a look?" She snatched it like she was grabbing a trophy, that smug little grin still plastered on her face. She opened to the first page, then stopped. Her smile vanished. Her face drained of all color. She flipped to the next page. Then another. And then she screamed. Not just a yelp, she screamed like she was in a horror movie. The kind of scream that makes your skin crawl. Her chair fell over as she jumped to her feet and slammed the folder shut like it had bitten her. "You monster," she shouted. "You sick freak." Gasps echoed around the table. Her husband Travis grabbed the folder and opened it. His jaw hit the floor. He turned to me. "Is this?" I nodded. "Every word is true," I said. "Every receipt. Every screenshot." The whole room went dead quiet. You could have heard a fork drop in the kitchen. My mom opened her mouth to say something, but then just closed it again. Like a fish gulping for air. I stood up slowly. "You all were so sure I wouldn't push back," I said. "So sure I'd stay quiet. Stay the family doormat. The one who always paid, always helped, never complained." I leaned forward and stared Brianna straight in the eyes. "Your little show. It's done. You're probably wondering what was in the folder. Don't worry, I'll get to that. But first, let me explain how it got to this point. Because Brianna didn't just wake up one morning and decide I didn't belong. This was years in the making. Layer by layer. A slow build-up of little betrayals and snide remarks. I was never the golden child. Not even close. Brianna was the star of the family. Straight A student. Big smile. Could charm a room with zero effort. She could lie to your face and somehow make you thank her for it. Me? I was quiet. Kept to myself. Never needed the spotlight. They hated that. They mistook my silence for weakness. I left home at 19. Paid my way through college. Worked 2 jobs. Never asked them for a thing. Brianna, meanwhile, flunked out of 2 different majors. Took a soul-searching trip to Europe. Then came home and married Travis, basically a LinkedIn profile in a suit jacket. I helped pay for half the wedding. My parents couldn't afford it, but somehow still managed to take a 2-week cruise right after. Did I complain? Never. Even when they called me the family accountant as a joke, I kept stepping in. Paid for Dad's dental work. Sent money when Mom said the heat bill was late. Even helped cover part of cousin Chloe's tuition when she didn't get her scholarship. They always said thanks, but in that tone. The one that really meant, well, of course you'd help. You don't have your own family, they'd say. And maybe that's where it all started. See, I'm single. No wife. No kids. No real drama. Just me, my job, and my dog. And to them, that meant I had nothing better to do than play backup for their screw-ups. Brianna especially saw me as her personal safety net. When Travis got laid off, guess who she called? Me. Her car broke down. You make 6 figures, what's 2 grand? Therapy for her kid that insurance wouldn't touch. Yep. Every time, it was me. And every time, I helped. Because I kept telling myself, that's what family does. But helping them turned into something else. First it felt like an obligation. Then it became an expectation. And eventually, a flat-out demand. At the beginning, it was just little jabs at dinner. Oh, fancy wine. Must be nice to have that kind of money. Of course you're early, you don't have kids slowing you down. I wish I could work late and skip out on my husband too. Then the comments turned nastier. You're so cold, maybe that's why you're still alone. You wouldn't understand real stress. You don't live a real life. You're just bitter because no one really needs you. But that was the irony, they did need me. Constantly. They needed my money. My help. My silence. Always behind closed doors, always in private. Then I got the text. Brianna. Hey, can you co-sign a loan? Travis and I want to open a wellness cafe. Me. No. Brianna. Wow. Really? And then, nothing. 3 months of silence followed. Mom stopped calling. Dad would shoot back a 1-word reply if I reached out. I wasn't invited to the last family dinner. Brianna even blocked me on social media. Right after she posted a story about cutting out toxic people. But I didn't mope. I didn't beg to be let back in. Instead, I got to work. Started digging through receipts. Literal ones. See, I keep track of things. Bank transfers. Emails. Screenshots. Dates. I'm not an idiot. And over just the last 5 years, I'd sent more than $85,000 to various members of my family. Yeah, you read that right. 85 grand. 9,000 for Travis's rehab. 2,500 for Brianna's emergency dental work, which turned out to be cosmetic veneers. 1,600 for Dad's back surgery. 15 grand to cover Mom's credit card debt. 7,000 for Chloe's college move-in expenses. 5,500 for a so-called family emergency that turned out to be a beach trip to Cabo. Not once, not one time, did anyone even mention paying me back. They just kept taking. And the minute I stopped giving, I became the bad guy. So I made the folder. I put everything in there. Screenshots of every text or email where they asked for money. Transfer confirmations. The messages where Brianna called me manipulative, for saying no to the loan. I included a timeline that laid out every major payment I'd made in 5 years. And to top it all off, I added Facebook and Instagram posts where they trashed me behind my back. Yeah, I had a screenshot of Brianna in a private comment thread calling me a cash cow with no spine. She didn't know I had access. So that's what she saw when she opened the folder. And that's why she screamed. Because it wasn't just some emotional outburst, it was a complete takedown. Every fact. Every detail. Every lie and betrayal laid out on paper. And while she fell apart, the rest of the family started to see what they'd really done. My mom looked like she was about to pass out. Travis was frozen, eyes locked on a line that read, $4, 200, Brianna's credit card, used at a hotel in Santa Monica with someone named Alyssa. He turned to me. What is this? I didn't say a word. I didn't need to. For the first time in my life, I wasn't defending myself. I was just laying out the facts. You kept records, my mom asked, her voice barely steady. Of everything? I looked over at her, calm as could be. Well, you never seemed to remember. Someone had to. Brianna was still standing there, ghost pale, fists clenched, eyes bouncing from Travis to me to the folder. This is a violation, she hissed. You had no right to do this. No right? I said, standing up slow and steady. You just stood in front of everyone here and said I wasn't family. Everyone clapped. And now you're mad that I showed up prepared? Travis flipped another page in the folder. What's this about Santa Monica? He asked, his voice hard now. Brianna whipped around to face him. Don't start. Who's Alyssa? He pressed. Why were you in a hotel for 3 nights on my credit card? Her silence said more than anything she could have tried to spin. Then Mom chimed in, her hands raised like she was trying to break up a bar fight. Can we all just take a breath and be reasonable? Sure, I said. Let's be reasonable. Let's talk about the time you called me a parasite, while cashing the check I sent you. She blinked like I'd slapped her. That's not fair. We were under a lot of stress. No, I said, my voice sharp. You were under stress. And I bailed you out. Every single time. And the one time I say no. Suddenly I'm the villain. That's when my dad finally spoke. He'd been completely silent up to that point. You're blowing this way out of proportion, my dad finally said. I turned to look at him, and my voice dropped low. No, I'm not. You let them treat me like this for years. You knew. You saw it happen. You heard every word. And you let it slide because it was easier than stepping in. He didn't even try to deny it. Then Brianna slammed her hand on the table. You're just bitter, she snapped. Because no one needs you anymore. I shook my head and said, flat and cold, wrong. I'm not bitter. I'm finished. She laughed, that dry, nasty kind of laugh. You're pathetic, she said. Do you have any idea how insane this looks? A folder? Printed screenshots. You think this makes you some kind of victim? You're just showing everyone you're a control freak. And you, I said, stepping toward her, are proving that the only time I mattered to you was when I was footing your bills. You don't get to act like a martyr now, she shouted. You chose to help. No one forced you. I took another step closer. Maybe not. But you expected it. Every damn time. Until it wasn't help anymore. It was an obligation. And when I finally stopped, you all voted me out. My voice cracked, not because I was sad, but because I was furious. You didn't want a brother. You wanted a walking wallet. That's when Travis stood up, folder in hand. Is all of this true? He asked, his eyes fixed on Brianna. Everything in here. She looked at him, and for the first time all night, she didn't have a snarky comeback. No fake tears. No gaslighting. No spin. Just silence. You lied to me, Travis said. About the hotel. About the money. About him. You made it sound like he was insane. I had to, she burst out. He was turning everyone against me. I wasn't, I said calmly. You did that all by yourself. The room fell into a heavy silence again. Then my mom leaned forward, trying once more. Her voice went soft, gentle, rehearsed. Listen, sweetheart, maybe we overreacted. But this is still family. Families fight. Let's just move past this. I cut her off. You're not hearing me. She blinked. What? I'm not asking for peace. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm telling you. I paused. I'm done. Brianna rolled her eyes. Oh please. Don't act like this is some grand finale. You've said this before. I locked eyes with her. Not like this. Then I reached into my coat pocket and pulled out one more envelope. What now? My dad groaned, clearly worn out. I slid it across the table. Travis caught it before it could fall. He opened it. Read the first line. His eyes widened. What is this? He asked, his voice barely a whisper. I answered before anyone else could. Power of attorney, revoked. For Mom. Medical proxy. Revoked. Emergency contact info. Removed. I've already filed everything. Signed, notarized, and done. I am no longer legally or emotionally responsible for any of you. My mom gasped, hands to her mouth. You're cutting ties. Completely. Completely, I said, calm and steady. Effective immediately. You're being selfish, she said, her voice shaking now, tears forming in her eyes. We've made mistakes, sure. But we're still your family. I turned to her. My voice lowered one more time. Firm. Final. No. You're not. Then I grabbed my coat, looked around the room one last time, and walked out, right in the middle of Thanksgiving dinner. They just sat there, stunned and silent. Surrounded by cold food and the wreckage of their own actions. I walked out and didn't look back. Not because it didn't hurt, it did. But as I closed that front door behind me and stepped off the porch into the cold November air, something shifted inside me. For the first time in years, I could breathe. I didn't even drive straight home. Instead, I pulled off near the lake, the one Dad used to take me to when I was a kid to go fishing. I sat there in the stillness, just watching the water. And for once, I felt nothing. No guilt. No pressure. No invisible leash tugging at my wallet or my time. Nobody waiting on a ride, alone, or an apology for something I didn't do. Just quiet. The next morning. Silence. The day after that. Still nothing. But on the third day, it started. First, it was my mom. A missed call. Then another. Then a voicemail. You really meant it, she said. We were angry, but we're still your family. I didn't respond. Then came the texts, from Brianna. You don't even realize what you've done. Travis is filing for divorce. Are you happy now? Something's seriously wrong with you. Then my dad finally chimed in. You went too far, he wrote. We all said things we regret. But what you did? That was nuclear. Your mother is a mess. Come fix this. I didn't answer any of them. And honestly, I thought I'd feel guilty. I thought I'd be lying awake at night, tossing and turning, second-guessing everything. Wondering if maybe I'd gone too far. But instead, I slept like a rock. Best sleep I'd had in years. No more scanning every text with dread. No more waiting for the guilt bomb to drop. No more late-night Venmo requests labeled urgent that were really just guilt wrapped in manipulation. For the first time in a decade, my brain was quiet. I could hear myself think again. I started getting up early. Went for runs. Made coffee slow, the old-fashioned way. I booked appointments I'd been putting off forever. Dentist. Doctor. Even therapy, not because I was falling apart, but because I could finally make space for myself. I updated my emergency contacts. Took my parents off everything. Changed every password. Froze every joint account they had even a whiff of access to. I blocked Brianna everywhere. Not out of revenge. It wasn't about payback anymore. It was about closure. A week after Thanksgiving, my cousin Chloe, the one who clapped when they booted me out, sent me a text. I didn't know you helped with my tuition. I'm sorry. I followed the crowd. You were the only one who actually helped. I didn't answer. But I read it. Twice. Then, out of nowhere, Travis messaged me. I filed the papers, he wrote. Everything in that folder checked out. She lied. She cheated. Manipulated. Not just you, me too. Then he added, you did the right thing. I should have left a long time ago. I wasn't expecting that. But it hit. A few days later, I did something I hadn't done in a long, long time. I applied for a new job in a different city. Not because I was running away. But because, for once, I had the freedom to go where I wanted. No more, stay close to home, just in case. No more, who'll take care of them if you leave. I started reconnecting with old friends. People I hadn't seen in years because I'd always been too busy putting out fires for the family. And the craziest part? Some of them had seen my post on Reddit. They reached out. Just to say, we're proud of you. Seriously. That took guts. Nobody asked for anything. No one made me feel guilty. No twisting of words. Just support. Clean and honest. Someone asked me, do you regret it? I thought for a second. Then said, yeah. I regret not doing it sooner. I thought that would be the end of the story. And in a way, it was. But with people like them, it's never really over. Not when they start feeling the weight of your absence. The first few weeks after Thanksgiving were blissfully quiet. No drama. No pressure. Just peace. Until Christmas. December 22nd, I got a text from my mother. Just a picture. Their living room. Decked out in decorations, stockings hung, half a tree decorated. And a huge, empty space where they usually stacked the gifts. It doesn't feel the same without you, the caption read. Sadie keeps asking why Uncle isn't coming this year. I stared at it for a while. No apology. No owning up to anything. Just the same old emotional blackmail. Look what you've done. Look who you're hurting. I didn't respond. December 23rd, Brianna tried calling. I let it ring. Then a message popped up. I know I messed up, but you don't have to punish everyone. Just come by for Sadie. She misses you. 2 minutes later, another text. Also, Mom and Dad are behind on their mortgage. I know you don't care anymore, but, the bank called. Figured you'd want to know. There it was. The ask. Always wrapped in guilt. Always hidden in some soft, sad story. But the pattern never changed. The setup always ended in a request. I blocked the number. December 24th, Christmas Eve, another one. This time from Dad. You made your point. We get it. But enough is enough. We need help. We're still your blood. That night, I sat alone by the fireplace, sipping a glass of wine. No tree. No lights. No noise. Just me and the quiet they always warned me about. And for the first time in my entire life, I was actually grateful for that silence. But of course, it didn't stop there. January rolled in. I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. Out of habit, I picked up. "Is this Ethan?" a man asked. "Yes." "Who's this?" "My name is Greg," he said. "I'm calling on behalf of your father. He mentioned you're the primary executor of the family trust." I went still. "I revoked that 2 months ago," I said. "It's already finalized through the attorney. I'm off everything." He paused. "I see." He said he couldn't reach you directly and asked me to explore some options. They're in a bit of a bind. Of course they were in a bind. Brianna and my parents had finally run out of options. The ATM was closed. The safety net had vanished. Now they were just throwing things at the wall, hoping something might stick. I hung up without saying another word. But the final straw? That showed up in February. A plain envelope arrived in the mail. No return address. But I knew the handwriting. My mother's. Inside was a letter. 3 pages long. Page 1. Full of regret. "We said things we didn't mean. You've always been the strong one. We didn't realize how much we leaned on you." Page 2. Guilt. "Your dad's not doing well. Brianna's completely alone now. We're worried about Sadie. She's been struggling." And page 3, that was the bait. "We're selling the house. But the mortgage is underwater. We just need a little help to get through it. Then we'll never ask again. Please, Ethan. Do it for your father. Do it for the family." I sat with the letter for a while. Let myself feel all the things they wanted me to feel. That heavy pull of responsibility. That tight knot of guilt. That old urge to fix everything. Then I folded the letter, walked to the kitchen, and dropped it in the trash. Because here's the truth. They weren't asking for help. They were asking for access. Again. They didn't want me back in the family. They wanted the version of me who never said no. The one who quietly paid. Quietly sacrificed. Quietly suffered. But that version of me? He's gone. I'm not their scapegoat anymore. Not their golden goose. Not the duct tape holding a cracked, crumbling house together. I am done. And the scariest part for them? I'm actually doing just fine without them. I got a new job. Moved to a new city. A bigger apartment. A clean slate. I started volunteering on the weekends. Not because someone guilted me into it. But because I wanted to help people who appreciated it. I built a life where nobody calls me in a panic over a bill they caused but won't own. Where I'm not punished for standing on my own 2 feet. Where being kind isn't seen as a weakness to exploit. Do I regret helping them? No. But I do regret how long it took me to stop. You want to know what real peace feels like? It's not sitting around a full table. It's not pretending everything's okay for the sake of tradition. It's being free of people who only call you family when they want something. Update, months later. When I first wrote this, I didn't think anyone would read it. Honestly, I just needed to get it off my chest. But I read every single comment. To the people who said, "You were brave," or, "They don't deserve you, thank you." I didn't know how badly I needed to hear that until I did. And for those who asked, "But what if they change?" Yeah, I've asked myself that too. It's been a few months now. They didn't change. After I cut them off, after the folder, the screaming, the silence, the letters, I kept hoping that maybe, just maybe, someone would finally get it. That someone would take a step back and say, "You were right. We're sorry." They didn't. First they went quiet. Then they got strategic. Then they got desperate. Then the nastiness crept back in. But me? I got free. I moved again. New city, new job. One that doesn't eat away at my peace. I started real therapy. The kind that doesn't focus on fixing everyone else, just you. I cook for myself now. I sleep better. I go outside more. I don't flinch when the phone buzzes. And yeah, sometimes I think about Sadie. I wonder what she's learning. What she's growing up thinking is normal. But I also know this. I was the one person in that entire mess who finally stood up and said, "Enough." A few days ago, I got one last letter. Handwritten again. From my mom. 3 words, "We're still family." No explanation. No apology. No change. Just the same tired fishing line. And for the first time ever, I didn't feel anything. No anger. No heartbreak. Just, nothing. I tossed it in the trash and made dinner. And now I'm back here. Because this space gave me a kind of clarity I wasn't expecting. Strangers saw me more clearly than my own family ever did. So I'll leave you with this. Did I do the right thing? Cutting them off. Dropping the weight. Saying no, and meaning it. Was I too cold? Or was I finally just done being the only one holding everything together? I don't know. But what I do know. For the first time in my life. I'm not surviving. I'm living.